As chairman, and I understand that this is probably the last time that we're going to be together on the dais, and I will just say that I have enjoyed the banter, and I have enjoyed our opportunity to visit with one another. And although we probably disagree on a number of different areas, we've also found some areas of agreement with regard, along with Senator Smith, with regard to improving options for home ownership, and particularly with regards to areas on Native American reservations, and also with regard to the rural areas of our country that really do need to have an upgrade in how we provide mortgage services to them. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And Ms. Chopra, I would suspect that you and I probably disagree on the vast majority of our philosophical approaches to the regulatory approach that we should have in this country regarding the availability of credit and so forth. But I wish you the best in your next endeavor, and I think there's no question but that you and I both know that you probably won't be here after the 20th or the 21st of January, but I wish you well in your next endeavor. Let me begin by just working my way through some things that I really do have a concern about. I recently sent you a letter with my colleagues, Senators Hagerty and Daines, regarding your proposed mortgage servicing rules. The stated intent of the proposed changes is to assist borrowers who are experiencing difficulty in meeting their financial obligations. Unfortunately, the proposal will actually, I believe, make this process more cumbersome and confusing by offering a variety of options at different times during the loss mitigation review cycle. Confusion causes delay, also causes mistakes and inefficiency. The intent of this rule is meant to be good, but as proposed, I believe it will be ineffective, and I think it will actually be harmful. Regarding this proposal, did the CFPB's actions in this area, did they stem primarily from consumer complaints, or is this an initiative driven by internal agency priorities?
No, this was actually based on discussions with the mortgage industry. We did a look back during the COVID-19 pandemic at various different ways to create flexibilities in the loan modification process and maybe reduce some of the procedural hurdles to give servicers the ability to modify loans, lower costs to do so, but at the same time, preserve consumer protections. So what we have proposed is really inspired by the learnings from the industry and others about COVID-19 loan mods. I agree with you that and I will share with you that your letter with Senator Hagerty and others highlighted some important issues. It is a very complex way, our mortgage servicing ecosystem. Well, and we do need to find ways to streamline it.
Here's what I'm getting at is I really think that when you do this type of a critical rulemaking, I'm really questioning whether or not you had the opportunity or you took the opportunity to really engage with a lot of the stakeholders on this rulemaking. And I'm concerned that a number of them who have been in contact with our offices really don't believe that they were adequately listened to, for lack of a better term, with regard to what the impacts will be. So I bring it up only because I think this is going to be critical in the next couple of weeks as we look at congressional resolutions of disapproval and so forth. And this is an area where I think there could have been some common ground found, but I'm not sure that you were able to do so. I also want to just touch base. I know there's been a lot of discussion here about medical debt. 6 months ago, CFPB proposed a rule prohibiting credit reporting agencies from including medical debt on consumer credit reports. And although consumers with unpaid medical expenses may see an improved short-term credit score, financial institutions will not be able to accurately conduct underwriting practices, something that may create barriers to accessing credit. In particular, what I was concerned with was the folks who are actually making a billing, and it's doctors and so forth. Were you able to actually get feedback from them in terms of how they're going to be looking at providing services if they believe that they're not going to get paid in the first place, and whether or not those reports are going to be made available to them? Did you get feedback on that? And what was the sense that you got from these physicians?
We did. And in fact, when we looked broadly at different practices within the industry, we actually find that many providers, many facilities do not even engage in credit reporting. I think the question sometimes becomes where, inasmuch that debt is sold or reassigned, there may be firms that are putting information on credit reports that is badly inaccurate. So I think we'll have serious concerns that people are paying debt that they may not even owe in the first place. And there's a broad recognition that medical bills are very different than the application process you go through when it comes to a mortgage, a credit card.
And
Yeah.
my time has expired, but I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your service on the committee. And I would just say, I think that while the intent of this was right, I think the implementation of this may be doing some harm, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to review this and perhaps make some modifications, because while we don't want that debt to ever be misinformed because of the time it takes for insurance companies to pay back and forth and to pick up debt and so forth, I really am concerned that this may do more harm than it does good for some of those individuals that are perhaps looking to get services that physicians may actually decline to provide or suggest they go elsewhere. But with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thanks, around Sussler.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin by